Right, here we go. Just showing you a new acquisition. Just about got it on the road. Well, I have got it on the road. I've ridden it. I've used it. But this is I can never remember the name. Winther. So they've printed it on their hydraulic brakes. It's a Winther. It was originally a child transporting tricycle. Okay, so it had on the front, and this is obviously this was long gone when I got it. It had on the front a child transporting box, you know, standard sort of thing. One seat here, one seat here. Happy kiddies going places, going to school, etc. As you can see, it doesn't have that now, because when I got it, it was just a rolling chassis with a big plastic box on it, which had been very basically screwed on and rattled about like mad, and it obviously did the job for the person who had it before me, but I wanted to put lawnmowers and things like that in here, so I needed something a bit beefier. So, quick run round. So, starting at the front, nice and simple. 20-inch, modern size 20-inch wheels, although these are running a 1.35 Schwalbe tyre, which they've had a bit of a hard life by the looks of things. There's a slight bulge here in this carcassing. It was in Oxford when I picked it up and used in the city centre, and it's clearly, you know, had some bumping up curbs and things like that. But the rims, the wheels, the spokes, the hubs are all good. Disc brake, paired up set of disc brakes. There's just one lever on the front there, so you've got disc braking on the front, which again is badged up with these Winther discs, but it is it's by Tektro, so they're nothing fancy, but they do the job. I think there's probably some contamination on the pads because they're not as sharp as perhaps they should be, but at the end of the day, it is stopping something quite major. So yeah, you're not going to jam those on and suddenly tip over. On the back, it's got internal hub gear. It's a SRAM, I don't know if it's SRAM S7 hub. Not terribly common in this country, but actually it's got a decent range of gears. When I got it, I had to do a little bit of work fiddling this about, because it's a system I wasn't familiar with. There's these chickens. Just see that? Shush! I'm house and dog sitting at the moment. So this little chap here is a big softy, aren't you? Big softy. Yeah, it just wants fuss all the time, don't you? Yes you do. Yes you do. Right, let me get on. So inside here there are two like push rods, and they're sprung loaded into there, and there's a rod inside an outer sleeve, and there's two little lever things that sort of sit about here inside there, and obviously just push and pull. Well, they don't pull, they just push against these springs inside the hub to select whichever rod needs to do whichever thing. I have no idea of how it works inside there, but I've got it working. I did have to buy, at great expense unfortunately, some second-hand parts, because the original shifter and cable was mangled. I've got it working. I've got some more parts on order, because this little tiny red plastic bit is sort of like it's like a sleeve inside, and that one is missing a little tiny piece of plastic on that actual sleeve in there, which locates these pins at the right angle. So the outer sleeve has to sit at the right angle, otherwise you don't get the gears working properly. Now it's working okay for the moment because I was very, very careful how I assembled it, but I've had to order another one of these, and believe it or not, that, because it's coming from Germany, that red part there and the 2 push rods are £18 plus the postage. So yeah, it's crazy money, but it is working for now. It will work better when it's all done. Now you can see originally it was quite a nice green colour actually, but someone rattle can sprayed it black, so this chips off. This black chips off really, really easily, and you get the original sort of bashed up paint underneath. But it's an aluminium frame, huge, great tube here to take the steering and the weight and the torque. It's pretty light, but obviously with a massive diameter, it's strong. Let me look under there. I'll tip the trike over in a minute so you can see exactly what's going on under there. But you've got these little channels, aluminium channels, that I managed to wedge or cut down a piece of wood into each of those, bolt that to the chassis, and then I can screw my box down into the wood. So that's really good. But other features, I should also mention, rear braking is done with the coaster brake. So as is common with lots of continental bikes, it's what the Americans like to call a pedal back brake, but it's a coaster. So that, for a Brit, that takes a bit of getting used to, because you know, you have to sort of remember when you're pulling up to get your pedals in about the right place for when you want to start, you know, because otherwise you're going to be out of power stroke or whatever. The pedal's really, really worn on this. The bottom bracket is great, no bother there at all. The pedals are really worn and seized up solid. So I wanted to switch those over. I mean, they work absolutely fine, but the rubbers are really well worn. I've never seen a set of rubbers that worn. They've obviously been on there a long time, but I need to get some like penetrating lube in there to try and switch those over, but no desperate hurry for that. Yeah. Now the steering on this is pretty special. So unlike a regular bike, you literally sort of twist the whole thing to the side to turn it. Twist and twist. And as you twist, so that's on its extreme, you see the back of the bike is canted over, or the back of the trike, sorry, is canted over. So the mounting for this is on an angle. So as you turn, and I don't know if it will show it very well, if I turn this, you'll see that comes back up right, and then it goes over to the other side. So you end up leaning into the turn, which is a really, really great feature, and actually makes it, I think, a lot safer with the cornering, because you're made to put your weight the correct way, just like you would on a regular bicycle. So it helps to like stop you lifting front wheels and things like that going around corners. This handle I need to tape up, get rid of this horrible tape, put on some more. Originally it had a big foam grip all the way around, and you do he used quite a lot of this actually to steer that bike, so it's a nice, it actually works pretty well. One thing I don't like so much about this, and there will have been a very good reason why it's made like this. This top section of the handlebars that the handlebars clamp onto, which would have been part of the original box and all that, there's a tube inside this tube and this tube. There's another one that sits in there. Same on this side. You've got a quick release clamp here, and you've got a bolt up clamp here. They might have at one point both been quick releases, I'm guessing, because there would have been some reason why you'd be able to take this off, but I don't know what that would have been. But anyway, it's a really wobbly point. All of the wobble in the steering comes from that joint. You probably won't be able to appreciate it on the video, but it really wobbles at that joint. And I thought at first, oh my god, it's going to break, but no, it's not going to. It's all solid. There is a crack in a weld, which the camera may or may not pick up. There is a crack in a weld here, but that essentially does nothing. Same here. There's a crack in the weld here. It does nothing, because these clamps and the fact there is this big long tube inside holds it all in place. So it doesn't matter. It's just not very nice. So let me just tip this over so you can see underneath it. Right then, so there is a stand at the front, which is surprisingly useful to stop it rolling away. Very simple. This whole front section is also removable. Not terribly easy. I did cut down to fit my box, and I cut these down. But in here you've got this, excuse all the cobwebs on everything, you've got a sort of like torsion bar suspension system. So these are all sat on training arms. I don't know if that's the right term, someone will tell me if it's not. But so this is all suspended. These front wheels are suspended and trail behind this axle. So obviously for moving kids around, that makes things a lot more comfortable. There's also a steering damper just in here. There's your main pivot point. It should be sort of viewed like that, really. So that's your main pivot point. Oh yeah, and then bolted on here is like a wheel. It's like almost like a skateboard wheel, nylon sort of affair. There's another one behind it there, and they roll round on this. It's sort of like a, I don't know what it is. It's welded on, but it feels almost like plastic, but it is welded. It's a bit, I guess it's just some form of alloy or something, but it seems a bit weird. But anyway, but that rolls round and obviously smooths out and keeps everything nice and level. So it's been well thought out, well designed. These little rubber steering stops, so that comes onto the main tube if you go too fast or too far with your steering. Stop you going too far with your steering. Yeah. I should also mention that the box is made out of an old wardrobe, an old pine wardrobe that I was given some time ago and didn't really know what to do with. So there's still about half a wardrobe left, but yeah, reduce, reuse, recycle and all of that. So it does need some varnish on, you know, all of these newly cut edges, but I don't have any varnish. So it may or may not ever get any. So there we go, the Winther Kangaroo, it was called. It was a Winther Kangaroo. Sorry, there we go. There's the actual model name. Electric now. They're all electric, I think, these days. This one clearly not electric. And I paid the princely sum of £100 for it. Right now, it stands me at about 140. No? Yeah, about 140. Yeah. So it should be a good usable tool, hopefully.